Oh, we've been waiting to talk about
Here
this
we
one.
go. The grand finale of the night. The one, the only, Robert Irwin!
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
My jaw was on the floor this entire
Yeah.
dance. I have nothing but good things to say. His energy is contagious. You can tell that he has to have some kind of dance experience. Like this jive. Jive is one of the harder genres, harder styles. And
This is our favorite move.
this move. Oh my gosh. We were just
whoa.
seriously, our jaws were on the floor the entire time. The energy was amazing. This is such a great pairing. They look amazing together. Whitney is just one of the best pros. She's got, years and years of experience doing this. The Born to Be Wild, it just is perfect for him. Oh, I have nothing but good things to say.
Iconic. And I mean, if your jaws weren't on the floor, were you even watching?
Right.
I put in my notes, and I think everybody is calling it right now. I think everybody in the newsroom, it's safe to say that's our season 34 winners.
I think so.
Robert and Whitney right there.
I think so.
And
Early prediction, but
crazy to say we're confident enough to say that, but that's another hot take.
Yes.
We love the hot takes.
He is wildly popular. Of course, his sister Bindi.
Did you mean to do that? Wildly popular.
I didn't, but it worked.
There you go.
Of course, his sister Bindi won. I thought that was so sweet with her in the audience. And also in his introduction before the dance, obviously talking about his dad and everything. So he's just got an amazing story and it showed him too when his sister competed, him in the audience when he was so young. Oh, that was adorable. So he's just got like the storyline. He's got an amazing storyline that's brought him to this point now being on Dancing with the Stars. And I think he's got a really loyal following. People love him. His energy is contagious. He's like the full package for a Mirrorball winner, I think.
I also think he is the one contestant that has the widest range of fans, old to young. I really think he
generational.
is generational. Thank you. Yes, I think it's hard to compare him to anybody right now. I mean, again, like I said with Whitney, that looked like we were watching a finale dance.
Yes, absolutely. I think Whitney is going to challenge him, and there's going to be other styles of dances that are going to be more difficult. And I'm excited to see what they do together. But I think that it's a perfect pairing. I know that a lot of people wanted him to be with Riley. I think he's great with Whitney.
Perfect.
And I'm just so excited to. And they've been doing great with the social media stuff too.
Yes.
So it's
Dancing
they're
with the
so fun
Stars
to watch.
knew what they were doing with that pairing. I think they knew stuff we didn't know.
Yeah.
So good for them for doing that. Up
and
next, we have Robert and Whitney. This is our Mirrorball winner prediction as of right now. So he had a tango, very different than what he had last week.
Yes.
Last week was a little bit more free and kicks and jumps, and this he had to be a little bit more firm and steady. You can see him right there. Still, nonetheless, I think an amazing front runner. He has some amazing moves. He hits all of his moves super well. He is super sharp and very clean. And I mean, Whitney's phenomenal with her choreography.
She is.
So when you see someone so clean and so powerful like Robert, you can tell he's obviously instantly a front runner. However, this is not supposed to be a negative thing, but we have to give critiques because everyone
Everybody
cares about our critiques,
well,
right?
we're critiquing every
Exactly.
couple.
I think his last week dance was just a little bit better just because I think he does do better in those freer situations. I don't think he's as strong when he's in hold. I think he's a little bit stiff. And I think he's a little bit, you could tell Whitney was carrying that tango in the hold because he clearly got more comfortable when they were in their side-by-sides. I think that was the best parts of the dance is when they weren't connected and in hold. So I think once he just lets himself a little bit looser in hold, then I think the rest is history. I mean, then he's going to be unstoppable. But I do think he's a little bit stiff when it comes to those, specific technical ballroom dances. But I think he's going to fix that real quick.
And I imagine that is the hardest part of actually physically dancing with a partner, being in hold and moving together, having to be in sync, moving across the dance floor. Because if you're not a dancer, you've never done that before. We all dance. I mean, people dance, right? Like all the time by ourselves. But when we have a partner that's guiding us and leading us, and also, he as the male in this partnership is supposed to kind of be the leader and take charge, which Bruno talked about. That's what he wants to see is, the men with their female partners like taking charge in these dances. So I think it was good. I wrote that you could tell that he wasn't as comfortable, but the crowd loves him. He gets he's got a standing ovation both weeks, but not as like fun and spirited as his jive. Obviously, it's a tango. It's just a different kind of dance, but he has great charisma, and I think that he will continue to improve. You can tell that he works really hard, and I think when he is just going to continue to throw harder and harder choreography at him.
And real quickly, before we move on from Robert, did you know he's 21?
No.
I had no idea. I looked that up last night.
I thought he was maybe mid-20s. Wow.
21 years old.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, now I feel bad for critiquing this 21-year-old on his form, but
But they've had even younger contestants on the show.
They have, but Wow, I was blown away by that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had to add that.
I know,
because
he
I
definitely
googled
looks
that.
older than he is. But I think he also just has like a certain maturity to him.
True.
Yeah. Okay, we've got Robert and Whitney. Of course, Robert, another one of America's favorites. Now, this was not our favorite Robert dance, I will say. It was good. It was powerful. This part,
Wow.
I don't. That's all we have to say. Yeah. Wow. I mean, look. He's a good-looking guy, and he knows it, right? Yep. He's fit, he's good-looking, he's playing into that, and I think Whitney's playing into that with him as well. He's got the, dare I say, the sex appeal, in a sense.
There you
but
go.
I don't think that was his strongest dance.
No.
The judges were kind of criticizing the fact that with the salsa, he was too stiff in that kind of part where they were side by side and doing their little moves.
Yeah.
A little too stiff, and also like from week one, which everybody just loved, he was, energetic and smiley. Like this was a very serious dance for him, which we need to see that side of him, but it just wasn't working for me. I don't know. I just didn't like it.
No, I agree with you. I think that after week one, I think he has a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah,
and he's held to a much higher standard.
It's so true.
And I just feel like the past 2 weeks, the dances they haven't compared to week one as much. Nonetheless, they're still amazing.
Yeah, totally.
But now he's the it guy.
He
He needs to keep showing out every single week. I think he's doing that, but I think cracks are starting to show a little bit.
Yes.
I agree with you on this one. Something about it just icked me out a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah.
I liked the dance and I thought it was very good. He's still obviously a front runner.
Yeah.
I think I wrote down like if he doesn't win, this show has to be rigged because he's still very talented and very powerful dancer, hits his moves hard. But I agree with you. Something about this dance, I don't know. It wasn't for me.
I agree. And this is going to be a bold hot take, and I recognize that, but I feel like that dance highlighted Whitney a little bit more than it highlighted Robert.
Yeah.
I want to see that change a bit. I want to see her really kind of like highlight him and get him moving even more than he already is because he's great. But, she does a lot of moves and lifts and tricks, which is great because that's kind of what the guys do. The female pros want to demonstrate that the guys can do that, which is awesome. But yeah, this just was not our favorite dance, but he still has so much potential. He's still clear front runner. I still think he is going to be top 2, top 3,
yes.
but just not his best dance. And that's okay because all the celebrities are going to have their weeks. It's the style just doesn't really work for them.
Totally. And he didn't get he didn't get the highest scores.
22 out of 30. Yeah.
8, a 7, and a 7, which I think was fair. I'm happy with those scores. I think
Absolutely.
that was good.
Yeah, I agree. Still a top contender for sure.
Still always excited to see his dances.
Yes.
So we were a bit critical, but we're being honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Not for us. All right, so let's move on to the next dance. We're going to go to Robert and Whitney. Okay. So this is a hot take. Last week, I think we were critical of Robert as well. I think he came out in his first dance week 1, just so impressive, jaw-dropping impressive, and I think he put that target on his back and that expectation on his back. He hasn't lived up to it. I didn't like this dance. I didn't like it at all. I think he looked kind of awkward. I don't think he moves his body very well. He seems just a bit stiff to me, in my opinion. I also just think, I don't know, it's a Zootopia. They were calling him Robert Irwin. It was weird. I don't know why he came down on a pole. Yeah. He comes down on a pole to start the dance
honestly?
off.
What is going on?
And I'm like, what are we trying to do here with the pole? And then he starts dancing and then Whitney boops his nose. And I'm just like, what? Their relationship's a little awkward to me. The dance, it just didn't have the wow factor. And I think since he had such an amazing dance week 1, we know his capabilities. We need to be wowed every week, just like the other amazing dancers have been doing for us. And he has not been wowing me, I'll be honest.
Yep, I completely agree. The most widespread criticism that I've seen, or like the most common criticism that I've seen on social media, is that Whitney needs to challenge him more. And I completely agree. I think that a lot of their dances, she's moving quite a bit. And I think in the first week, we really got to see a lot of him. And I don't think that it's really the dances have really spotlighted him as much. So he needs to be challenged more. That's number one. I'm not a fan of the song. I was not a fan of that song choice. No. I've never seen Zootopia, so maybe I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not a fan for a cha-cha. I think the song was just weird. Didn't like the choice.
How is that a cha-cha? I didn't see the cha-cha move.
I don't know.
He did the one, this move, and like barely moved his body.
Yeah,
I'm like, is that the cha-cha? I didn't get it.
Agreed. If you think back to some of the other cha-chas that have been done in previous weeks, that just did not. So choreography was underwhelming. Just was not a fan of it. And I'm being really critical, but I just know, I know Whitney can do more. I know that he is capable of so much more. She needs to challenge him. He does better with those faster movements. That dance was a little bit more, he needed to be a little more smooth and focus on the technique a little more. So It just wasn't for me.
But I think with the cha-cha, there was potential to do
There
faster
was.
movements,
And
for that to really
that
be
song choice
his
just screwed him
dance.
over.
The song choice screwed
Where
him
was
over.
like a Lion King or, you know, Tarzan
Yeah.
or something? I don't know.
I feel like Disney night, we missed a bunch of good songs, but
Yes.
maybe that's just, maybe that's just us because we're not like fully
I know.
Disney
We don't make
dolls.
the choices, obviously.
I don't
but,
know, and I'm
yeah.
sorry for Zootopia fans. I know my college roommates are huge Zootopia fans, so
Okay.
they might think differently about that. But
right.
I just was not a fan, and I think we can be critical because we have such a high expectation of him because we know what he's capable of. So I think it's fair to say. Now his scores, I do think reflected the dance well. He got a 7, 7, and an 8.
Okay.
Which I think was very fair scoring from the judges.
Yeah, I'm glad that because the judges clearly love him.
Mm-hmm.
I think especially Derek. Derek really likes him. So I'm glad that they're not giving him, you know, overscoring him when he should be being judged just as harshly as the other contestants.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that he can really come back to what he was week 1.
Me too.
I hope maybe next week, dedication night.
Yes.
Maybe he'll really tap into something. Maybe we'll see some
I
crocodiles.
think so. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so because that's what everybody remembers. Well, Dancing with the Stars fans will probably remember Bindi's dance that she did on dedication night, and I think that was really Bindi's breakthrough moment. And I think everybody's just waiting to see when he's going to have his breakthrough moment. So I think we could definitely see that next week. And yeah, challenge him more, Whitney, please. I want to see. Yeah, I want to go back to feeling like how we did the first week when we were like, that's our winner.
Yep.
And we haven't had that.
We're rooting for him. He's
Yeah.
still our winner. I think he's still a winner. I think Whitney's a close second now.
Yes.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be competitive, no doubt.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to one of our favorites of the night that we loved, Robert and Whitney. This is next couple up. This was such a sweet, emotional dance. Dedicated it to his mom, who, of course, you know, if you know the Irwins, you know that Steve, Robert's dad, died several years ago. They're wildlife conservationists with the Australia Zoo and everything, so they have a really inspirational story, but it was dedicated to his mom. And I just thought there was so much power in this dance. He is so good at contemporary, these moves. He was fluid, he was smooth. There were some jumps that you know, he looked like a dancer, truly looked like a dancer out here. Now I have to say this ending part was just breathtaking where Whitney stepped out, they did the camera shot where they circled around and then his mom stepped in, Terry. So I just loved that.
Yes.
So sweet. You could tell that he was very emotional the entire night from the minute that the show started. And I can see why, because I think he really wanted for that dance to be perfect, special for his mom, to showcase all that they've been through together as a family. And it was just really sweet seeing their family dynamic, because I think we hear a lot about Robert's dad, but to hear about the sacrifices that you know, their mom made over the years to be able to, you know, go through grief, losing her husband, but still raise those kids in such a great way is incredible.
Yeah, it was a beautiful dance. I think that, like you were talking about the camera shot there, which we just saw, I think that was my favorite moment of the entire night.
It was
How
so well done.
cool and powerful just to kind of showcase that and his mom. And yeah, like you were saying, he was very emotional from the start. I texted Megan and I was like, Robert.
Yeah, we were texting back and forth.
Yeah, we were texting like he's not clapping. They're just kind of, you know,
he was just locked in,
calm and focused on the night and really present in the moment. And I think that showed in his dance. I agree. He looked like a beautiful dancer. He looked like a pro out there.
Absolutely.
And I know last week, I think we were pretty critical of Robert, saying that from the week 1, we were very wowed. We hadn't seen the wow. He gave the wow again and proved why he is still our season 34 winner, in my opinion. So I'm really happy for him. I think that he really did justice to that dance. I think Whitney's choreography was amazing too. And I just loved how at the end too, Bindi came out and they were all hugging and crying. I mean, that was probably the dance of the night that brought the most tears. From what I saw.
Yes.
Bruno was
I
bawling.
was very emotional. Yes,
I
Bruno.
was bawling.
Yep.
It was. And I think that dance really just exemplified dedication night so beautifully. And I love that he had that moment, and it was powerful. It was pretty.
So powerful, absolutely. Yeah, I can understand why everybody in that ballroom was so emotional. It just set the tone for the entire night. It set the bar really high for the entire night. And we were critical of Robert last week because we said that we didn't feel Whitney was challenging him enough. We felt like the choreography was just a little too simple, wasn't really showcasing his skills. And when we see them side by side like we did in that dance, he just shines because he's just very powerful on his own. But we know that he can have fun with the quick movements. So to see him slow down and really kind of come into his own with that contemporary style was just awesome. And like I said, those jumps and some of those moves, I was just really, really impressed with him. So they got 1-8. Come on, Carrie-Ann with that 8.
Carrie-Ann, what are we doing?
Seriously.
You should have gotten all 9s, I think.
I could say some things about Carrie-Ann and how if
she was crazy this night.
Giving Robert an 8, but then other dances a 9. I digress on that, but maybe we'll talk about it a little bit later. I don't understand that. But the rest 9s,
Yes.
which I think was perfect. I would have given that dance a 9 myself.
And we were shocked. Spoiler alert, there was no 10 given out
No
all
10,
night.
yeah.
I thought last night's episode was going to be the episode for the first 10, but it wasn't. But I'm not mad about that because I
No.
love that we're still, letting those pros, or the stars and the pros, work towards a 10. They still need to earn it and get there. But I thought that dance could have even deserved a 10. That's why I'm shocked by the 8. Carrie-Anne was not consistent with her scores, and it's not a secret.
At all. Not at all.
We'll see what happens. So as we move on to the next dance, we had Robert and Whitney. He also had probably my favorite song of the night that I was so excited for, Dancing Through Life. This song was perfect for him. He encapsulates just like dancing through life. He was so happy. I think it was the perfect persona for him to be. I thought it was really cute. I really liked how they used the books as like a prop. I think that was the risk Whitney was trying to take, was really leaning into the books and keeping it a little bit more simple. I loved their move like down the ballroom that we just saw of them, like that one, knee up move. Whitney loves that move, by the way. She does that all the time.
Yes.
So I love the dance. My favorite part was the second part of the dance when they did get to that side by side and that whole movement. But I do love how they incorporated the books. I think Whitney actually balanced that dance of dancing and storytelling very well.
Yeah.
And I think Robert executed it very well.
He did.
I loved his personality shining through. You could tell he was just having fun. And I know a couple weeks ago we were saying we felt like we needed more wow moments from him. We felt like he wasn't doing much. And then last week, dedication night, I feel like he really had that breakthrough of just, showing us that he is a dancer and he is there and has that passion. And I think he's building on that from last week.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't stand out as much as last week, but I still think I would put it as one of my favorite dances of the night because he was just having fun with it and he told a story, and I feel like it was the perfect dance for him. I'm happy he got Dancing Through Life. I don't think anybody else could have done that dance.
No, agreed. And he had so many little tricks in there that were so fun. That body roll that he did in the beginning.
Yes, with the wink.
Yep. He knows. He's cute and he knows it.
Yes.
The backflip down the stairs that they did with the troupe was also awesome. He's back to looking like a dancer because his dance last week was amazing, but we kind of had that critique I think 2 weeks ago where he just wasn't looking as strong in his dances, and I think that he is kind of back to being that leading man. He looks like a pro out there. He's kind of standing his own next to Whitney. It was a very ambitious and challenging dance, like you said. It had a lot of risks involved, and they paid off in the end. I think that also I have to give credit to Whitney because she listened to some of the feedback that she got about not challenging him enough, and also not showcasing him enough. Yeah. And I think he was showcased very well in that dance. So I loved that. And I also loved all the little theater elements too. So let's talk about scores though, which we didn't talk about scores with Alex. Right. Alex got 1-8, which I completely disagreed with. I thought she should have gotten all 9s. This dance got all 9s. Where was the 10?
Where was the 10?
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes, why are they being stingy with the 10s this season? He should have gotten a 10 on that dance. I think that deserved the first 10 of the season because it was so creative and so difficult.
Agreed.
And he executed it perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, that I would say that was almost a perfect dance.
Yeah.
I don't know what, I don't get it.
Agreed. I don't know what they would have needed to give that a 10, given that some other dances of the night got 10s, which we'll get to.
Right.
But Whitney talked about how in the intro talked about, them being on the top of the leaderboard to start the season and they need to get back there. And I feel like they should be leading in those scores, and they're up there on the leaderboard. Of course, they're in the top 3, but I just feel like that should have gotten the first 10 of the season.
100%. He deserved that 10. So he got robbed without the 10.
Yeah. I agree, but I know it's coming for them. I think that the judges are just holding them to a higher standard. Yes, it's coming. I know it is. And maybe that will give him more motivation too, just keep working hard to be able to get that 10. He knows that he needs to keep performing well every single week. Otherwise, there are other strong couples, and if he really wants to win that mirror ball, he has to keep proving himself every single week. So 100%. I know it will just motivate him to work harder.
100%.
Okay, let's move on to one of the standout couples of the season, Robert and Whitney, dancing an Argentine tango to Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. I loved the orchestral version of this song that they did, the instrumental version of the song. He was very strong. He had great technique. The footwork was on point, something that the judges pointed out, and I also thought that as well because I was really looking at his legs and his feet. Felt like I was being a very critical judge, looking at his legs and his feet. Now, per usual, I will say that while I do think this was a great dance from Robert, it was a lot of Whitney, a lot of a lot of tossing and turning Whitney around. So
cool.
that, yes, loved that last part. And then he came back and when he came to the judges table, he had like blood all over. So
Yeah.
love that. They had some sound effects in there too that were really cool. So I thought it was strong. I thought it was powerful. It was one of the best dances of the night, in my opinion, but wasn't my favorite dance of theirs. I think that he did a great job. We've said it week after week. I just like seeing him serious. I can't like resonate with as much. I like when he gets to show his fun, goofy side. So his more serious dances just don't stand out as much to me.
Yeah.
But they're still doing great. Still love them. And it was a solid dance.
And this is why I feel like it was such a midweek, is because I feel like people like Robert and Whitney, they should have really been capitalizing on this week with that creativity, being able to do the Halloween night, have some more creative freedom. And I just feel like for all these dances, we're like, it was fine. Yeah. Compared to their dances that we've seen all season, I mean, this is nothing compared to the dances we've seen in the season. Yeah. So that's why I'm just a little bit disappointed with Halloween week. With their dance specifically this week, I agree. I like the orchestra. I thought that was a really cool aspect to it.
Right.
But I think going into the dance, it was very much stressed. He needs to be the leader. He needs to lead Whitney. And I don't know what the judges saw, because that is not what I saw. The judges said that he was the leading man. I completely disagree. My eyes only went to Whitney the whole time.
I agree.
Not that he didn't do great, but if I'm being honest, I was watching Whitney the entire time.
Same.
Every time I've watched it back, I'm watching Whitney. And that's where I'm just like, I don't think this style's for him. I think when he's side by side, when he's on his own, he absolutely shines. And I think that is what has worked for him in the past. But when they got in this hold, I didn't like it. I mean,
Agreed.
I liked it. Okay, I feel bad saying I didn't like it. But again, like we said with Whitney and Mark, there's a very high standard for Robert and Whitney. Gosh, these Whitneys are confusing me.
They are.
There's a very high standard for them, and they need to keep living up to that. And this week, they just didn't live up to it. But I think that orchestra, the story, I said that weird, the orchestra, the story, I feel like that had so much potential.
Totally.
I don't know if it was the dark lights. I don't know what it was.
Something.
I just was like, it was
Yeah.
fine. I don't know what more to say.
Right.
So,
it just doesn't jump out at
yeah, and what was he scored? He was scored, he got 2 10s.
Yeah.
2 10s and 2 9s.
2 10s. I know. The judges love him too.
I don't know, because I was just so focused on Whitney. That's where I'm like, it might have been perfect on his
I think
end.
they were impressed with his footwork, impressed with
Yeah.
his technique.
So, I mean, maybe 2 10s is fair. Compared to the other dances, it was great.
Right, but moving forward, when they do those dances and hold, I do agree he needs to really lead Whitney out there. And she's such a strong dancer too that I think it's hard sometimes. Sometimes I feel like the pros need to like almost dance down a little bit so that the pros can so that the celebrities can really shine through.
And he's just a young little cute boy. Like, he's a cutie. Like, you gotta, and he's like trying to be like a man. And I'm like, I don't know.
I know. It's better when we can see his goofy, fun personality.
Totally.
Yep.
So good for him, but not much else to say.
Yeah.
All right, okay, let's move into our final dance of the night. Well, final partner dance.
Yes, right.
Robert and Whitney. Megan, take us home for a final partner dance.
This was an awesome way to end out the individual couple dances. Robert really owned this dance. She was strong, powerful. He led. That little move right there, that little foot swoop. Yeah. I remember watching this and being like, oh my gosh, this is it. He is so amazing. Love this little move too. I just think he has such a solid partner in Whitney, and this choreography was challenging for him. She has been challenging him well. He just owns all the moves. He flows well. He looks like he's a professional out there. He really does, and loved that as well. Oh, just everything. You can tell I really liked this dance. It was solid. All the red too. It just like made it pop. Maybe a little too much with the lights, like some of the other dances, but it was just really solid. And Robert has captured so many people's hearts. People love him. He has just done so well. I see continued growth from him every single week, and I can tell that he works really hard as well. So I'm a big fan of that partnership. I still think, top 3 for sure. I can see it.
Yeah, easily. I think this Paso Doble made him the leading man. I think that we've disagreed with the judges in the past few dances, but I think this one, he was leading this dance and owning this dance. I mean, he leaned into this, aggressive, intense mindset.
Sharp.
Yeah, and I loved it. I mean, I think he absolutely owned it. I think he had great choreography, great execution. I loved the classic Paso Doble.
Yeah, me too.
With the classic, they hit it down and they hit it up.
Yes.
I don't know what those moves are called, but I love the classic Paso. I think it looks really cool.
Sharp arms, sharp legs.
Yes,
Yeah,
and he made it look cool. So I was like, okay, Robert, go off. I will say, though, I did write down at the beginning of the dance in the side-by-side, he was a little bit behind the other pros in that side-by-side.
Yes, I saw that with the flag.
Yep, so I think that's why he maybe didn't get a perfect score.
I almost questioned to myself, like, was that intentional that he was like a beat behind? But it didn't seem like it. I think
I don't know. That was my only note. Everything else about the dance, I think, was
a little behind.
Perfect.
Yes.
It was just that one part was a little bit behind. But, that's us being critical because he is so amazing. So we can be a little bit critical for that. But this, I think that this, actually, I did write it down that he's finally the leading man. And I think that this was his best dance so far.
And
this was my favorite dance from him.
Yeah.
His scores was 9-9, 10-10.
Okay.
So
pretty solid.
Yeah, pretty solid.
I would argue maybe didn't deserve the 10 because he was just like a little off. We need perfection. I think we need perfection for those 10s.
But I do like how they balanced it out because I do think, like, if he got all 9s, that's so tough because I do think it's one of the better dances of the night that deserved to be par and par with number 1 and with, like, Alex's dance, for example. So that's why I'm happy that they had 2 10s and 2 9s. I think that was very fairly scored.
Absolutely.
For once. Love it. Flava Flav got on board a little bit.
Right. He's finally clearly he finally caught on as the night went on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Paso Doble rocked it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Super fun night. And like you said, I think it was the perfect dance to end on. Because he was solid.
So solid.
Okay, up next we had Robert and Whitney. Now they had, I think it was a foxtrot, and they were dancing to the same freestyle song that his sister Bindi danced to. His sister Bindi won Dancing with the Stars way back when, and this song was a tribute to their dad, Steve Irwin. It was a really emotional dance, and I think Robert just leaned into this entire dance. You could tell he was very emotional throughout the entire time. I wrote down in my notes that I think this is the first quote-unquote serious dance that I actually liked from him. His lines were beautiful. He went through every single motion. You saw those, arm moves there. And I feel like I just saw a different side of him that I've never seen before. I saw the serious side of him, and there's, of course, Bindi, his sister, and then he turns around and he's going to see the video of him and his dad, and he just kind of breaks down. And I think I was getting a little emotional watching this too because it is just so powerful. But I feel like coming out of the gate at the start of the season, Robert was really just trying to be that, charismatic, charming guy.
Fun.
Yeah, fun and goofy guy. Yeah. And every single time he did a serious dance, I was just like, it's
this
just
isn't
not
his vibe.
him.
Yeah.
But this dance, whoa, I was blown away. I was like, oh, this is Robert. Like, he really, let his guard down and left it all out there. And I loved that foxtrot from him.
Yeah, I do think Robert definitely has a serious side to him. It's just not the person, that's not what he's known for. He's known for being crazy and goofy and, like you said, super charismatic, especially on TikTok and all of his social media pages. And so for people, whoa.
We're going to choke that for Robert.
That dance just really touched me. Whew, okay. All right, we're good.
Do you take it over?
No. That was funny. All right, we're just going to move on.
Yeah.
No, it was great. I loved it. And I will say, too, they had in their intro package Prince William, because I guess he was supposed to be on this event with Prince William down in Brazil or something, and then they couldn't be there anymore because Robert's made it this far in the show, which is kind of interesting. That was crazy. And then also loved the cute moments in the beginning with Bindi's daughter, his niece. I thought it was so sweet. So overall, I feel like Robert got a lot of brownie points from this dance. He had all the elements for people to be like, oh yeah, I'm sold on this dance. Maybe a little bit more than other celebrities. But I just thought it was so touching. And I think that, people might view that Robert has a little bit of favoritism because Derek was partnered with Bindi and they won all those years ago. But I really feel like he's proven himself in this competition. I think he works hard and he's the leading man. I thought it was really great.
He's a dancer and he got all 10s, I believe, right?
All 10s. His
perfect score.
First perfect score of the season for any couple.
Yes. So shout out to Robert. It was a beautiful dance.
Yeah.
And I loved it. No complaints. I mean, he's still in our front runners for sure.
I will say, though, I do personally more enjoy the more fun, the jives.
Totally.
Like that. And we'll get to that later because we saw that from Robert a little later in the episode. Yes. Let's get to the best relay, I think we both agree, of the night. Ooh, this is so good. Okay. Robert was paired with Xochitl Gomez 2 years ago. We mentioned that earlier. This was so fun. Oh my gosh, they're both so good. And they just meshed so well together. This dance was so much fun. I really loved it. I think it was what dance was this? Was it the jive?
Oh,
yes, it was a jive. Yes. And love the song choice too. Now, were they a little off? It wasn't perfect, But all things considered, this is where Robert thrives in a jive. He was so happy about doing a jive, so he did great.
Yep.
Loved Alex with Joey Grazade, last year's Mirrorball winner as well. This was so fun. She just sells everything. She's just good at everything. So I think this was really solid. I think it was so hard to pick a winner, and you could tell the judges were having such a hard time because, look, they're both doing amazing.
Yeah.
And both had a lot of good content, and I loved it. I loved the flip at the end, or that move that they did at the end. That was fun. They always throw in very impressive moves. I think I would have picked Alex and Joey. I don't know why. I think it's just because I like Alex so much. Honestly, I think that's why.
Yeah.
But Robert killed it too.
I mean, it was so hard to pick a winner in this one, and the judges talked about it because it's a guy and a girl. So how do you compare the two in a dance like that? And they're both amazing dancers. It was a fun dance. I'm glad they gave them the jive.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I wrote down, like, why was the intro package so intense? It was like them being like, we're gonna get you, and then it was like Alex bleeding from her nose.
Yeah.
I'm like,
they both
whoa.
got injured a little bit trying to compete and be the best at that dance. But that's because they threw in some tricky moves.
Right.
Robert did the jump, the split jump. And
yeah, it was fun, but I would probably disagree with you, and I think I would have picked Robert, which is what the judges picked, because I thought that him and Sochi, like, something about them together, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, this pairing was iconic.
They looked like best friends.
Yes, and they looked like they were having fun. But did you see at the end when the judges' comments, they were like, your guys' chemistry.
And they were like,
they kind of blushed a little bit.
Yeah,
did you notice it? Sochi was like,
I feel like Robert, there's been so many rumors going around though about like Robert would be cute with this person in the franchise and this person and this person. And I feel like he's probably just so overwhelmed because
he doesn't care.
He's a good looking guy and he's single. And so everybody's like, you should be with this girl and this girl and this girl. And all the girls were probably, I mean, heck, maybe they do want him.
Right. I mean, I ship Sochi and Robert. They were cute.
I
was like, okay, good.
And I love Sochi. I love it. I was such a big fan of her when she won 2 years ago. So I loved their pairing together. But
okay, last couple of the night.
Last couple, Robert and Whitney, fan favorites right here. This was very similar to Robert's week one jive that really caught a lot of people's attention because he was really probably the strongest competitor from the get-go. It had a lot of the same moves, if you noticed, kind of even that first jump that he did off the table, of the judges' table, was similar. But Robert really nailed this. I mean, he kept up with Whitney. That move was from their first. He killed it. That's all I can say. That kind of perfectly sums it up. That was fun.
So
there were so many unique moves. I really do love Whitney's choreography. It's gotten better as the season has gone on. There were some weeks that she wasn't challenging him enough, and that was a challenging dance. Very quick. He just sells it. Like, he's really in his element when he gets to do those jives, those cha-chas, because he has so much energy. He's a bright, bubbly guy. You really get to see his personality, and when it comes to the technique, he nails it too.
And his point at the end was so cute. I love that. You could tell.
He's always like, yes, I'm so excited.
You could tell from the beginning of that dance, he was like so happy to be there and so happy to be doing that style of dance. I think that he is a very strong competitor, but I think when he gets in those style of dances, it's, second to none. I think that he is so much better in those quicker, more, upbeat, happy dances that he can show his fun and goofy side, because I feel like that's just who he is.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not really the serious guy. He's not, the intense guy.
Right.
I feel like he is what that dance was. And so that was my favorite dance from him from the night, I think, for sure. Honestly, I think that was one of my favorite dances from him for the entire season.
Yes.
I just think that he attacked it. It was clean. It was fun. It was him. I just felt like I was watching him dance. He wasn't trying to put on a persona. And compared to the second dance, that was my favorite.
I think their finale is going to look a lot like that. I think it's going to have a lot of fast jive, cha-cha elements to it, because again, that's where they shine. Those side by sides. He's
loving it.
You're just like, you just have to love him because he looks like he's having such a great time. And he did not come into this with any dance experience. So I think his growth has been super impressive. And let's talk about his second dance, though, because it was totally different, very different. This was an Argentine tango, which typically you need to be a little bit more.
I think it was a Vietnamese waltz.
Oh, was it?
I think so. I might be wrong, though. Sorry, continue.
Okay. Okay, all right. I was wrong. Okay, Viennese waltz. I don't know why I put down an Argentine tango.
It kind of looks like it. I wrote down it didn't seem like a waltz to me.
It kind of had that,
I wrote it down.
That intense, serious vibe to it, not that like beautiful, graceful, emotional vibe to it. Okay, but this was also a solid dance from these two. With the Viennese waltz, though, again, like you kind of have to be a little more like more romantic, connected, a little more emotional, and that's not Robert. So I think whenever we see these dances from him, we're always a little like, maybe that's not my favorite. But it was still solid dance. I mean, he led her well. I liked the choreography. I just liked the first one so much better.
I agree, and I wrote down literally like, how is this a Viennese waltz? Because I don't think that I would understand why you'd think it's an Argentine tango looking at it. I'm like, that is not a waltz in my opinion. I think it was a good dance, and it wasn't, I don't want to say it was bad. I didn't like it though. It's not him. And I think we saw him do this super fun, upbeat, happy-go-lucky jive, and then we see him do that and try to like flip a switch and be like intense and romantic with Whitney. And I feel like that's just not them. I think he's just, and I know that maybe isn't fair to like compare the two dances because they're two different styles. He has to do it. But I also feel like that is part of dancing, is being able to lean into that, you know, the storytelling and the performance aspect, and I don't know, something about it was just cringy.
He's just such an infectious, joyous person that when I think people don't really take him as seriously, us included, when he does these serious dances. So we don't resonate with them as much. But the dance still performed well. They got 2 10s and a 9 from Derek. I think Derek was talking a little bit about something with his technique. I think he had some minor critiques for kind of his frame and things like that. But overall, still very solid. Robert and Whitney are major contenders for the Mirrorball Trophy. I know Rachel, one of our producers, has said she has thought from the beginning that she's going to win. He has the biggest social media following out of anybody on the cast this season, and people just love him. The judges love him. When he goes up and he hugs Derek and he hugs Carrie and he hugs Bruno. I mean, he's like, he's almost kind of like trying to win brownie points a little bit, but that's just who he is. He can't help himself.
And I don't think it's fake. I think that he just genuinely loves it and is just happy to be there and just wants to be friends with everybody.
He's just an affectionate, sweet person.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens.
Okay, let's move on to Robert and Whitney. Here's Robert's first dance of the night. This was his judge's choice, which was a quick step. Very fitting for Robert. I can understand why. Or actually, sorry, this was a cha-cha.
No, I think it was a quick step.
Oh, okay. It was
the instant dance was
I'm getting messed up with my,
Same
you are
thing.
so right. Yep, so this was chosen for him by Derek. Very fitting. So there was a whole thing with Robert that he had some rib injuries. I'll talk about that after, but they did have to change the choreography a little bit. They said, I couldn't tell. I loved that move down the stairs in the beginning. Very creative choreography. It had some kind of, that was super cool too. Had some like fun theatrical elements into it. He kind of was playing a character a little bit of kind of like this musician, which I thought was fun. And he was a little bit behind on, there was like this one move. I feel like Carrie Ann, I'm like the one person critiquing,
I love
right?
it. It's
He
great.
was like a little bit behind on, they did that thing where they were on their backs and they like jumped up, and he was just like a beat behind on that. But other than that, his energy is contagious. I loved like the enthusiasm. Every time that he dances, kind of like Elaine, he's just smiling the whole time. He's so in it. And I really like that about him.
I wrote down that is just so his style. The quick step, the cha-cha, everything that's fast paced where you can just be smiley, bubbly, happy, and quirky. I mean, that is so Robert. So I think that worked out in his favor. I agree with you. I feel like there were some moves that I was just like, okay, you're a little bit behind. But in my opinion, of his 3 dances, I think that might have been one of my favorites from him.
Yeah.
I'll have to, refresh myself on the other dances, I guess. But I mean, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. It was a great quick step, but he's done better dances before, in my opinion. I've been wowed by him in other dances previous in the season. So that's where I was a little bit disappointed in his judge's choice dance, because that was probably what they put, well, I guess aside from the freestyle, they probably put a lot of preparation into it. But nonetheless, fun dance, great song, great choreography. They got 1-9 about the comment that you made about the being behind, and Whitney did not seem happy about that. Oh, she was mad.
Oh, yeah. She definitely, she said that Robert is like her little brother, and I think she defends him like an older sister. And I think she kind of thinks he's perfect, which he's pretty close to perfect. He's great, but he, all the contestants, even though, they're all great, but they all make mistakes. So he made a little mistake on that. That's okay.
And it was still a fun dance, though.
Super
Love
fun.
his personality.
Yeah.
Should we do his instant dance
Yes,
now? Okay,
yes.
so he had the instant cha-cha. I wrote down the beginning was so strong. I was excited for a cha-cha. This is his style. Like I said, a quick step, a cha-cha. If he can show his personality and fun side, that's where he's going to own the dance floor. The beginning, I was very impressed with. But halfway through, I'm not going to lie, it got a little messy right there.
It did.
He missed his foot. He missed his hand. It just got a little messy. That was kind of the turning moment. He missed a foot right there again. I just feel like it started great. It started fun. His personality was great, once again, all the way through. But the dancing, was messy. It was kind of like Elaine's freestyle. That was a curveball. He never does that.
Yeah, and I
at
think
the end.
Whitney was not expecting that.
No, not at all. I mean, I love how he just leaned into it because it's an instant
It's
dance.
fun,
You don't
yeah.
have much time to prepare. But it was. I was disappointed in that. It was messy for Robert,
It was
who does
messy.
have very high expectations. I was a little bit taken
I almost
back.
wonder if they didn't put as much preparation into the cha-cha because each couple, they did show some footage of each of them preparing because there was like 4 different types, styles that they were said. These are the 4 styles that you could get for the instant dance. And I wonder if maybe they didn't put as much effort into the cha-cha. It was fine. It was good, like you said, but it wasn't great because of. And people might disagree with that. They might be like, you guys are being so nitpicky.
Well, here's the thing. He got all 10s on that dance.
Yeah.
If you're going to give that a perfect score, but you're not going to give Elaine a perfect score.
Right, then.
Which the season's over. We're not going to go back,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like whatever.
But that was
I
not all
agree.
10s.
I agree
That's
that
not
we should have
perfect.
thrown a 9 in there.
Yes, 100%. Not that it was bad by any means.
Yeah.
But it was not all 10s.
Agreed.
Oh,
Yeah, I
anyway.
agree. Let's talk about.
I'm like, sorry, I said some hot takes about
I
Robert.
could keep going about that,
Yeah.
but I'm going to stop myself. So I
Right.
don't keep
Let's
going.
do his freestyle.
Yeah,
Take
let's
away
talk
his
about the freestyle. So this also had a lot of different styles of dance incorporated into it, kind of like Alex's. And I know we were really anticipating this. 2 different songs in this freestyle, which was super funny. This song called Black and Gold. I love that moment right there. There were a lot of really unique, creative moments incorporated into this dance, which I really liked. It was fast paced. I feel like a lot of focus on Whitney, but maybe could have been a little more focused on Robert. But I say that about like all of their dances. It was good. I liked how they incorporated all of the pros, and it started really fast, and then kind of got into this song. Gosh, what is this song called? Oh, I'm forgetting. But this song had it was kind of talks about like it has that lyrics where it's like my father told me, and kind of like reaching your dreams and just going, aiming for the stars, that kind of thing. And it was fun. It was definitely him for sure. We know we like those faster dances for him. So it was clean. It was high energy. I think that he really owned it and leaned into it. So I give him a lot of credit. But I know that this was not our favorite freestyle of the night. I know we that was something that we did talk about before this, and I want to hear why.
I just don't think it was memorable. I hate to say it. I think I loved how he, paid tribute to his dad. I loved the song choice, and I loved the storytelling. But I just feel like Robert could have done so much more, and same with Whitney. I don't know, something about it, like the other freestyles, I can, pick a part of the dance, at least one
That
part
was, like,
of
really
every single
memorable.
dance that I was like, oh, that was really cool. That really set that dance apart. That's what made that dance unique. But when I watched Robert's dance, I could not pick a moment that I was like, whoa, that really stands out to me. That's really unique. I don't know
agree
what
with-
it was, and
no, I
maybe I
agree.
was getting tired at this point of the night because this
It
was
just
3
like,
hours.
I've seen a lot of dances at this
well
point.
past our bedtime. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I just. Oh, and I hate it because he just had so much potential going into the season.
I know.
And I had such high hopes for his freestyle.
I agree. I would have loved to see. I still think about Robert's week 1 dance all the time.
Yes.
And
I
how
think that was the
memorable that
best he
dance
got.
was. And I think it also was because we hadn't seen him dance before. So because he was so good, it was like, wow, everybody was really taken aback. And now we've seen him dance all season long. So I think people had really high expectations for this freestyle. And it was really good. Don't get me wrong. I really liked it. But I agree. I think it could have I would have loved to see maybe like a prop in there or something that would maybe added a little bit of a challenge. I think some of the other couples took a few more risks with some lifts and some jumps, things like that. And I think they just kind of played it safe and just really leaned into it being high energy. But I really feel that those two felt that they had this huge fan base. Robert, I think they know he was getting so many votes week after week. Maybe they just kind of thought like, we just want this to be a clean dance. We don't need to do anything crazy, take too many risks because you've got those votes on lock.
Right.
He had so much support all season long.
But that's not the freestyle. The freestyle is the time to take those risks.
Right.
Because you can do anything. So that's why I was disappointed.
Yeah.
Because I would have loved to see more side by side. I think comparing to his week 1 dance, I thought his week 1 dance was more memorable than that dance.
Yeah, I agree.
Which, Robert, I'm sorry, nobody cancel us, please, because we still love Robert.
And yeah, there's a lot of Robert
This
fans
is
out
just,
there, so.
we're giving our hot takes. That's what we like to do around here.
We do,
so
we do.
I just have to be honest about that
And
one.
we share them about each couple.
Yes, when I look at the freestyles from this finale, what's going to go down in the history books, that is not one of them. And it could have been with that pairing.
It could have been. I completely agree. It got all 10s. The judges loved it because the judges love Robert.
Everybody
loves Robert, and I understand why.
They had his whole family front row last night. But yeah, I do agree with you on that. Not a whole lot that was memorable from that for me. So yeah. That's what I got to say.
Okay.
Yeah, this is our mirror ball.
The
We've had this
winner
all season long. The
of the
winner
mirror ball.
of Dancing with the Stars is
Three,
Robert
2, 1.
and Whitney. we could have rehearsed that a little better.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
I wanted to leave that till the end just so we could get all our thoughts out there without sharing who the winner was. But you know what? America predicted this. He had the biggest fan base. I do feel like it was set up from the beginning for Robert to win this competition.
It really was.
I mean, his story with his dad, his sister won 10 years ago exactly on the show. She's sitting in the audience just like he was when he watched her win 10 years ago. There were so many, it just had the storyline. It had that emotional appeal. But then people, he's a good looking guy. Yeah. He is fun. He's himself. He's just a ball of energy and people just love him.
Yeah, and as much as we critiqued his finale dances, I still think overall, he was a big one to win. That I was happy. I'm happy he won.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it. As much as we critiqued his finale, I'm very happy that he took home the mirror ball, the Len Goodman mirror ball trophy, season 34.
Yeah, we just have a mini version of it.
He's iconic. He's iconic.
He is.
So I'm happy for him.
And I really do love their partnership. I do love Whitney Carson. I think she is such a great pro, and I thought she did a really good job, especially in that second half of the season, really pushing him.
Yeah.